starting now.
Yay.
This is no dream.
And I mean music starting now. I forgot to hit the start button. There it
Awesome.
is. Blank Theory, middle of nowhere. Let's kick it. God, here we go, guys. Welcome to another Scream stream. It feels like it's been like, what, a month since we've done one of these? But I am happy to be back. My partners in horror crime are happy to be back. I got Cody Leach, CP from Will I Like It Reviews, Bryan Lomax Movie Talk, all in the house, his house. How are you guys doing? Say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
What's up, guys? We're going to talk some horror tonight. We got a lot of good topics here. The main topic of discussion we're going to talk about is like vampires and werewolves and night creatures and all that stuff. Somebody in Killer Flicks thought that there was a movie called Night Creatures, and I thought that'd be a cool name for a movie, but
There has to be a movie called Night Creatures.
There's gotta be one. A B movie at least.
right after they said it, I was like, that's a damn good name for a movie. I'm surprised there's not one. I haven't done the research, but there might be one. Who knows? But we got a jam-packed list to talk about. If you look at the top right, there's a kill list. We're going to talk about a little tiny movie called Halloween. I think there's a soft J in there somewhere. That's coming out in, what, 5 months, guys? Something like that.
Five months, 2 weeks, 3 days,
Yeah.
13 hours. But who's counting?
I guess my first question about this, well, you know what? Let me say hi to some people in the chat here real quick. I want to do my due diligence. We got, hey, Austin from All About Movies, Samuel Pagan, Will Smith, Power Up Productions, Jordy Baby, Blu-ray Addict, Review the Movie, I'm Jack White, Paul, Michael, David, Bain, that's 4 names, Eddie Longs, Review Turner, and who is that son of a bitch? Will I Like It Reviews? Cool. All right. Hey, everybody, thank you for showing up. 74 of you guys.
And that's all the time we have. Thanks
for
watching, guys.
Yeah. Wow, 74 right off the bat, guys. That's awesome. First off, we'd like to thank you guys for stopping by and hanging with us for the next couple hours. I guess before I get started, Cody, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Finally got some sleep last night, so I'm not like a zombie. Like, all right, Scream stream, let's go. So I'm doing good.
That's good. CP, tell me about your life.
My life is good. I just made fun of 66% of this room, yet I'm still here. So,
dude, that was so
everything's
awesome,
good.
man.
That's what you think.
I gotta say, man, like I was having a shitty day that day, and then you dropped that thing, and it just put me like in the best mood. And it shouldn't have, but it did. That was awesome.
I was on a plane, and there was like 4 people next to me, and I saw the notification that it was dropped. I was like, "Oh shit!" They were like,
"Here we go."
What?
Drop the plane.
Then I had to explain. I'm like, "Oh well, I have a YouTube channel," and then I had to explain who CP was. And then I had to explain why he was roasting me, and I had to take him on this journey of how the fuck this video came to be. I don't know if they watched it or not, but
it was awesome. It was awesome. Bryan, how you doing, brother?
All right, yeah, doing very well. Been itching to do one of these for a while. So
how's your back, Bryan? How's your back?
I'm good. I'm doing very well, actually. I'm off the meds, so.
Oh, good. The human body is an amazing thing. So
can't keep a Lomax down.
No, you can't. You cannot. Sweet. Okay, now that I've done like my proper introductions, let's jump into the Halloween trailer anticipation. This thing has been... Have you guys ever seen... And I'm sure there's... I guess minus Star Wars. For me, anyway. Am I in a bubble right now? Have you guys ever seen so much anticipation for a horror movie? Just a horror trailer? Cody, I mean, is something going on? Like, what? Why do you think this is happening?
I think the last time that there was this much anticipation for a trailer was when like all the major franchises were getting remade. So like you get like, oh, there's a Nightmare on Elm Street remake being made, and then you'd like everybody's anticipating a trailer. But it's been a while. I mean, but we haven't had like a real major release in any of these franchises since Nightmare on Elm Street came out. So I mean, that was what, 2009. So it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, CP, like thinking back to like when the Friday remake happened. I know there was some buzz around there, and I don't know if it maybe has something to do with the internet age today. And
I was just going to say, you know what, we have to divorce ourselves of the fact that we're in Killer Flicks and we're in an online movie community, because I was in a Friday the 13th community, and it felt like it was a big deal. But I remember when I first saw the trailer for Friday the 13th, 2009, in the theater, and there was this oohs and ahs when it was happening, which was like, oh, nobody else knows about this. So we're a bit... We're a bit contained with the excitement. I don't know if it's as big a deal to the rest of the movie watching world, but I mean it is. It's a big deal. I mean, it was a big deal last year, so it's the environment we're in. I think.
Yeah. Now, Bryan, here's the thing for me is like I've never seen so many like news updates, like Bloody Disgusting, just pretty much any horror website. They're posting like any kind of update for this movie, and I don't remember seeing that for other movies, at least at this like volume. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think we're in a bit of a unique age, to be honest, at the minute, because horror it's on a considerable rise, because we've had, well, for a start, I mean, I know a lot of us probably won't consider it horror, but which anyway you cut it, Get Out getting nominated last year. Yeah. The Best Picture has really, it's quite a bump for the horror genre, and I think that has been a long time coming with the likes of like It Follows, The Babadook, these more kind of art house type, respectable kind of horror films, and even stuff like Don't Breathe. I think we've kind of gone away from that period in the noughties where it was Saw and Hostel, that type of horror film that kind of ruled the roost. And now we're using our brains a bit. We're putting some intelligence, some intellect into the horror films, and I think they're gaining some respect. So because of that, a lot of the old horror fans who love the classic stuff from the 80s, they're now in a prime position to tell all these new horror fans about the stuff they grew up on, the stuff that got them into it. And I don't know, I think it's a perfect time to hit, because like, let's not forget, they've already done this.
And A Quiet Place is only helping right now too.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, we've already done this. We've been in this situation once already with Halloween H2O. That was riding on the success of Scream, but a lot of people would argue it kind of dropped the ball. Not me personally. I think it's one of the better Halloween films, but a lot of the Halloween fans do think they dropped the ball with it. But yeah, we find ourselves right back in that opportunity. Every we go through cycles of horror, and in the late 90s through to the early noughties, we had a successful cycle of horror. It started with Scream and whatnot, and I think we're back there again now. We're in a new cycle of horror that has kind of been born out of these more intellectually stimulating horror movies, which I've been loving, I gotta say. Yeah. And I think now's the time not to drop the ball. That's the thing. If you're just going to come back and not bring anything new to the equation and take two steps back, then this film could really hurt the genre rather than help it, I think.
Yeah, I think we're coming full circle. I think this might be one of the most exciting times, in horror, because if you think back to when Scream came out, because Scream was it was one of those movies that kicked the doors open for horror, but it was one movie, and then you had all these movies that kind of copied that formula. Whereas in this is kind of a different movement going on here. It's almost like what I'd call like horror stepping stones. Like every quarter to every 6 months, a new horror movie comes out that is like a huge hit, like say Get Out, like A Quiet Place. It just seems like there's like I can probably at least half a dozen horror movies that are huge. And then maybe we're coming back full circle to the movie that kind of was one of the biggest Halloween that started this whole thing in the first place, you know, like before or after Psycho.
We've kind of done this before, though, with Halloween. When Scream came out, Freddy and Jason were all but dead, but Halloween had H2O shortly after that. So this isn't Halloween's first rodeo jumping
definitely not
on a major horror movement. So, you know, and that was H2O. I thought was quite all right as a non-big Halloween guy. So good on them for reading the tea leaves, so to speak.
Now, CP, let me ask you this: if you put, I'm sorry, Cody, hold on just a sec. If you push away all the news that's going on, all the drama and everything, just at face value, are you excited for this movie as just a movie?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'd be a moron to say I'm not. I mean, even if for selfish reasons, even if, you know what, the Jason fan in the back of my head says, you know what, if this does well, maybe whoever the fuck has it now, Warner, whoever, I think it's back to Warner.
It's back to Warner, yeah.
Right. Maybe they'll be like, all right, you know what, let's kick the tires on redoing this. So even if just for selfish reasons, I'd say yes. But no, I mean, anything good in the horror genre, I'm excited for. I'm rooting for.
Sure, Cody, what were you gonna say, brother?
I was gonna say, I think there's also a ton of updates on this movie too, because there's so much secrecy, there's so much confusion, anticipation. You know, there's so much cloudiness regarding what the hell this movie is going to be that these websites know they can just post, you know, new Halloween update, and it could be nothing except for, you know, new picture of Michael, and Michael's like this fucking big or something like that, and people are going to click the hell out of it. Oh my God, what's it about? And so it's some of it's, you know, which I know you've seen lead too on your Halloween update, how many views those things get. Even if you do one you could do one every 2 or 3 days and still get 13,000 views. So it's just one of those topics now it's striking while the iron's hot in a lot of ways with some of these websites.
A lot of them.
My channel has never had, I guess, this much success in such a quick amount of time, and I owe everything to Halloween because of that. Because if you look at my last 3 weeks, I've done, I think, 3 or 4 Halloween updates, and each one of those has 10,000, 20,000 views, which is not something I'm used to. And I guess that's just a testament of the love for this franchise. But I think the marketing team behind the movie, they're really doing a bang-up job, because they don't, it's funny, we don't know that much about this movie, but they seem to always give us like a nugget here or there, even if it's just like something promotional, like the trailer. Like, people are freaking out about this trailer, including myself, and like I want to know when and where it's going to happen, and so I can be there for it. And I'm not even that way about Star Wars. It's strange, but there's people like me out there. That's what's scary to me. Like, there's people like me that are just as excited, if not more excited, for this movie. So I guess it's an exciting time to be a horror fan. And like CP was saying, this could really kick the doors open for Freddy and Jason. If this is a hit, I would think that those studios are going to go back and say, "Oh my God, we have to strike while the iron's hot." I mean, what do you think about that, Bryan?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to that next in the Critters franchise. So, absolutely, you know, if it opens the doors to all those 80s horror films and gives Critters another go around the bend, then sign me up.
The sad thing is Bryan is dead.
Jordan Peele's Critters.
Jordan Peele's Critters. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, so I mean, like, it's crazy. I don't know how much time we want to spend on that topic. I mean, you could talk Halloween.
Let me intervene for a second.
Please,
I know
please.
this. Well, maybe push this to the back with the news. Apparently, Predator's trailer's dropping tomorrow.
I've heard that.
Ooh.
Yeah, and you know what? We could talk about that a little bit if you guys want to before we jump in.
a thumbs
Well,
up.
actually, that brings me into the question that was asked on Killer Flicks. We've all picked one question. That kind of brings me to mine. So, if you want,
That's later on, right?
That's later. So yeah, let's just
All right.
Table it for now.
save all this for the news portion. I'm sorry, guys. My fault.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's jump into night creatures. I don't know why I called it. I was going to call it vampires and werewolves, but I was thinking, let's call it something different, and something shorter. So I called it night creatures, and I confused the hell out of everybody. So, but night creatures, I guess, could be anything. It could be vampires and werewolves, but I was thinking, I guess we'll start off with me.
Twilight.
What about Pitch Black? That's kind of a night creature, right? You guys like Riddick, Cody?
I like the first one. Okay, I thought the third one, Riddick, was the best one, and I've never seen Chronicles of Riddick. I've never heard anything.
Oh wow, I think you're the first person I've ever heard say the third one's their favorite.
Oh man, seriously,
I really like the third one. Well, I mean, they're very different, but I thought the third one was really cool because I liked how the first half of the movie was kind of him on his own, trying to build up his strength to fight this monster, and the second half was kind of like a dark, gritty, just kind of almost like a kidnapping movie where they're trying to contain him, and just the way that he was like, they took that dude out by kicking that machete through his head, like all that shit. I was like, oh, this is a blast. This is cool.
See, the Riddick films are just like
guilty pleasures, all of them. But I mean,
well, see, I don't even think the first one is a guilty pleasure. I think it's a really well made, very well written and directed film, and then for whatever reason, David Twohy just went completely arse end up down the toilet. Like, Chronicles of Riddick is absolutely appalling as far as cinema goes, and Riddick was not the best written film, I must say. The dialogue in it was absolutely terrible, but it felt like it was trying to get back to the Pitch Black mold. But
yeah.
I was always
like that. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I liked it.
I'm sorry, Cody. I was gonna say I was all you had, like, as far as Vin Diesel goes, everybody was all excited about the Fast and Furious franchise, and here I was like, can I have another Riddick movie, please? Like, that's how much I loved the first movie, Pitch Black. Chronicles of Riddick is a mess of a movie. I don't know. They wanted to go bigger, and I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot because what made the first one so good was how small and claustrophobic the movie felt. And when you take the best part of a movie and go a completely different direction with the second movie, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So I like Chronicles of Riddick, but it doesn't even compare to the first and the third. And the third, I think, like Cody said, it is a good movie, and I think the reason it's good is because they went back to that formula of the first movie. So, CP, let me ask you this: give me your favorite vampire.
Gary Oldman.
There you go. Yeah.
Dracula. Is there much better? I mean, I like Bill Nighy in Underworld, but there's not much that he does. So it's what do you go ahead, Bryan? What are you hemming and hawing about?
Sorry, Bill Paxton, Near Dark. Just gonna throw that out.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen Near Dark.
11.
I'm so like we just. I know. We just rented the first Christopher Lee horror of Dracula, so I'm trying to catch up. If anything, this year I'm trying to catch up with all the vampire stuff. So perhaps I'm a little ill-informed in the vampire category. But listen, Michael Sheen in New Moon. There's. No, I'm done.
Oh my god.
I'm done.
The sad thing is Michael Sheen is like a fantastic werewolf in the Underworld series, but a shitty vampire.
Yeah.
God.
Cody, what about you? What's your favorite vampire?
It's somewhere between David in The Lost Boys and Fright Night.
Oh yeah, that's.
Why am I blanking on the fucking name? Yeah, Jerry Dander. I'm just like, why am I blanking on the name? Between Jerry and David, because I think David just has the most badass look for a vampire. I love how cool he looks in that movie. I love that character, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But Fright Night, what I love so much about that character is like it's all of the classic vampire stuff. Like don't let him in, otherwise he can come into your house. Like the turning into a bat, you know, the sunlight, the garlic, this cross, the reflections, like. Everything about Fright Night and Jerry Dandridge is like that old school classic vampire that we don't really get a whole lot of anymore. So I love that too. And I just love how badass and like alluring that character is. Like that whole scene in the nightclub where he just walks in and just takes that girl with a look is just awesome.
You know, it's funny. Like I think my number 1 and number 2 are yours and CP's because Gary Oldman is probably my number 1, but Jerry Dandridge, I think, as far as like what I want in a vampire, he embodies everything. You know, he's like such a commanding like he commands everything throughout that whole movie, Fright Night, and he's a big reason why I think Fright Night is so good. But yeah, like you said, the nightclub scene is phenomenal. It's tough to beat that, and I think a lot of people have a tough time naming 5 great vampires because there's so many shitty ones out there.
Thank you, Anouk Ryder.
Yes, thank you very much, Anouk Ryder, for the donation. That was very kind. And if you had a question, I would be happy to field the question. But yeah. Bryan, did I ask you what your favorite was?
In Interview with the Vampire, Tom Cruise, pretty good as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like what's his face in that as well. He always gets overlooked. Man,
Don't say Keanu Reeves.
He's Neil Jordan favourite. Oh, he was in V for Vendetta. Played the cop in V for Vendetta.
And he was in Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the guy's name either.
I got one that we haven't named yet.
Go
That's
ahead.
one of the most badass vampire characters of all time. Blade.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was just gonna say.
I'm sitting here trying to think. I'm like, yeah, we got Blade. I'm a big fan of that movie Daybreakers too. There's not like a standout character, but for a vampire movie that doesn't get talked about a lot, that's
Is
a really
that with
good one.
Ethan Hawke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen like imagery for it. I have not seen it.
Mm-hmm. And definitely anybody in the chat that has not seen Near Dark, definitely that's up there for me too. Like I know Bryan mentioned it. Slevin is a great character, but also the other, like all of those characters are awesome.
Yeah, Lance Henriksen was
I love Lance Henriksen's character. There's one line that he gives that's just cool as hell. And they're like, so where are you from? And he's like, well, let's just say I fought for the South. And he's like, oh yeah? He goes, yeah, we lost. So he's talking about the Civil War, and you're like, oh shit. So that's a great one. I love vampire movies. Keep talking.
I just watched Near Dark for the first time a couple months ago, and Bill Paxton completely steals the show in that movie. That bar scene, just so insane. Cody Dillon, thank you very much. That was very nice. He wants to know what our thoughts are on the collection. I just reviewed it not too long ago. I freaking love the collection, and I'll even say that the collector as a character, I think, is like one of the best modern day horror icons. I know Cody, I have to give him full credit for pumping that one up for me. Cody, go ahead with your thoughts on the collection.
I love the collection. I don't think it's quite as good as the collector, but it's what a sequel should be because it's just balls to the wall. Everything that the collector is, the collection is that on steroids. Like the opening scene, just that huge club massacre, even though it's complete bullshit, but it's awesome to watch. The ending is what I always gush about, which I'm not going to spoil for anybody that hasn't seen it, but the collection has one of those endings that's like a big middle finger to all the horror cliches. Because if you think it's going a certain way and it feels so like by the numbers and you're like, oh God. And then all of a sudden it goes a completely different direction. You're like, what the hell? It's about fucking time somebody did that. And it's just, as soon as the credits for the movie in the theaters when I saw it, I was like, fuck it. So
that was an awesome
I'm kind of a fan of the collection.
Yeah. I think it's even better than the collector. I'd say collector's like 4.5 out of 5 and collection is 5. Like, it's that good of a movie.
They're close. They're close. Yeah. There's some things the collection does better. There's some things the collector does better. It's just an awesome 1-2 punch of a franchise. And I wish we could get a third one. But if it ends where the collection ends, again, totally fine with it.
We have to have a third one. I mean, to have 2 movies that are that good to not make it a trilogy would be a crime. I really think so. Bryan, have you seen the collection?
I've not. No.
Oh, dude.
I've seen another film by the guy who directed those films. which was pretty decent.
Marcus Dunstan.
Yeah. So he did one.
The Neighbor.
The Neighbor, that's it. Yeah. That was pretty good. I thought that was, for a low budget kind of independent horror film, is pretty decent.
Power Up Productions, thank you so much for that. And he just mentioned one of my favorite vampire films, if not my favorite, 30 Days of Night. Oh my God, I love that movie so much. It's because it's so different than any other vampire movie out there. The vampires are like actual creatures, which is usually what I kind of prefer with a vampire. Gary Oldman kind of did a little bit of that, but they are just full-on creatures in 30 Days of Night. And I love how it's set in the snow. Most movies just at night. It's just so good, so good. CP, what are your thoughts on 30 Days of Night?
Well, if I had seen it, I'm pretty sure I'd have glowing things to. Dude, I'm telling you, vampires. I've seen all the Twilights for some stupid reason, but I haven't seen.
Give Jason Lives a break for like 3 fucking months and watch some vampire movies, for the love of God.
Dude, 30 Days of Night, don't even think about it as a vampire movie. Yeah. Think about it as like just a monster isolation movie. That's really
Wasn't
what
there
it
a
is.
sequel to it
It's
too?
so good.
Isn't there
My
two of them?
second favorite vampire film.
Yeah, but you don't need to see the second one.
No, just ignore the second one.
Okay.
That one's not that good at all. It's got Mia Kirshner in it, who I love for obvious reasons, but other than that, it's not really that good. But CP, man, you guys give me crap for not seeing movies.
I know. Listen, I said it in the tag. This is going to be my year of vampires. I'm gonna try
year of vampires.
I'm gonna try to catch up. Well, the shit that I missed.
If you've not seen Let the Right One In, put that high on your list, because
I've seen both versions of that.
Oh yeah, I like both versions. I think that's one of the better remakes out there, actually.
I like the Swedish one. A Swedish one? Swedish?
Yeah,
Swedish.
Swedish.
A little bit more.
I turned the American one off. I've got so much love for the original that.
Well, I think they're really close. I think the remake. It does venture out just a hair, but it doesn't do what Psycho did. It's not just a shot-for-shot remake. And I think Chloe Grace Moretz actually did a really good job. And I think some people, they don't like subtitles. So if you really just can't stand subtitles, then watch the remake, and I think you'll get the same satisfaction out of it.
I think you can have it dubbed too if you're really that not pretentious. If you're that against particular. Thank you. Wrong P word. If you're penis about reading words.
One of the things about the original is that because I don't know any of the actors in it, they are those characters to me. So, like when I see Chloe Moretz pop up as the vampire, she is a great actress. But I'm still watching Chloe Moretz, and I don't know, just those characters in the original. It's like I was so bought into who they were as people, and I think a lot of that just had to do with the fact that I didn't know any of those faces.
Yeah, of course, the original is like my top 5 best vampire movies ever made in my mind. Like, the original is such a classic. Jake Grogan, thank you for the $2. Would you guys want to see a Jason versus Leather? It's one of those versus questions. Jason versus Leatherface, CP. What do you think?
Nope.
I agree.
Nope.
I don't think Leatherface has any business in any versus movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. Leatherface is a guy. Everyone else is a demon or a zombie or an evil presence. It just doesn't. He doesn't fit.
Yeah, Leatherface is more about defense than offense. He's protecting his turf. If you come up on his turf, he's gonna. So, I'd rather see like Jason versus Michael or
Right. I always thought that something
Battle of the Mutes.
They should fit within their own little like Candyman versus Freddy. I think would be really neat because they both have this. I don't know, not non-realistic presence to them.
That's actually a good versus idea right there, CP. Yeah.
Thank you, but I think they have to. It's like you said, like you can't. Chainsaw is just he's just a dude. I mean, Jason's a zombie. I'm gonna murder that fucking dog. I swear to God.
Review the movie. Yes. I know Cody, Bryan, and CP all have Patreons. Patreon. I always get that mixed up. But I'm gonna have links to all their channels in the info box here after we do this. So if you guys want to support them on Patreon, definitely check out those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for asking that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bronco Juggalo, what's up, brother? He's donating $2. Brian, you must see the collection. Favorite 2000 slasher. Brian, what's your favorite 2000 slasher?
Would It Follows count?
Oh, yeah. Brian, get out. And I do mean get out.
Yeah, would Get Out count?
Technically, there is a body count in that film. Something is going around killing people in rather gruesome ways. You know, the opening death is some woman on a beach with a leg all twisted and torn up and stuff. So,
well, I mean, the opening death and It Follows, it's a production. You have such a great score. You got the camera work is amazing. I mean, everything about it just all comes together for a great kill. I love It Follows, and I consider it to be a slasher because it is somebody picking off victims one by one. But my answer to that would be, I'd say You're Next. That's probably one of my favorite slashers of the 2000s.
Yes.
Just because you had Shawnee Vinson, who was pretty much the female Rambo, and she kicks major ass. And I love when a final girl not only steps up, but she takes charge. And that's, I think, more than any other final girl, I think Shawnee Vinson completely takes charge and kicks ass in that one. On the level of, like, say, Ash, you know? Cody, what about you?
I'm trying to think of, like, early 2000s. I'd say Final Destination 2.
Yeah? Yeah, that's it's talking about kills, man. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry Falls.
I've never seen Cherry Falls.
I own it, and it's not in this country with me. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to say Wrong Turn.
There you go.
The first one.
Yep.
I refuse to defend.
Others?
I refuse to defend anything after that first one. But yeah, no, that was a good time.
I recently got the Wrong Turn collection, and
Oh,
I've been wanting to give
$8?
the first one another watch. So
yeah, the first one, and then the rest are coasters.
I've seen the second one. Henry Rollins is a cool character. Beyond that, I could care less about it. The rest of them, you have to pay me to watch them, to be honest with you. Don't donate and tell me to watch them. Don't.
yeah, please don't.
I'll take that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay you to watch.
Okay, let's jump over to werewolves real quick so we can finish off this. I'll just say a werewolf movie that I freaking love to death that I just saw not too long ago was The Howling. I can't believe it took me that long. And Derek Mayo, who recently passed away, he sent me that Blu-ray, and I was thinking, you know, I'm gonna watch this movie and it'll be good, but I didn't expect it to be that good. But just the makeup effects alone, which actually ties into one of our Killer Flicks questions, but yeah, just the change scene. I think it stands up against like American Werewolf in London. So as far as werewolf movies go, that's probably one of my favorites. And I didn't want to go for the obvious because I figured one of you guys would. Q Bryan, what's your favorite werewolf movie?
My favorite is Dog Soldiers.
But nice pick.
I would like to just give Howl a mention because it's really underrated. If you look it up on IMDb, the rating is just I hate it. I hate seeing that rating for it because it's so much better.
Yeah.
Than I think most people probably picked it up on DVD or Blu-ray because of, I know this isn't an A-lister, but Sean Pertwee, his name was all over the cover. So they've kind of marketed it off that, really. I mean, like, there's a lot of Gotham fans out there. If they see, I mean, that's what I did. I went into a HMV, saw they'd been knocked down to £3 on Blu-ray, and Sean Pertwee was in it. I'm a big fan of him in that show in Gotham. So I bought it, I watched it. He's in it for literally about 60 seconds. And he's got like one very short line of dialogue. Turns out he was friends with the director and did him a solid by getting his name on there so that they could, well, do exactly what they did, which is market it solely off him. But if you get that, if you push that to one side, if that's something that makes you angry, if you get over that anger and then actually just look at the film for what it is, it's a bloody good werewolf film.
I can't believe I've never seen it. I've heard of Howl, but yeah, I've never. You know, as far as like, I always prefer like the best werewolf movie over the best vampire movie. I just like werewolves better than vampires, and maybe that's why. But Cody, what's your favorite werewolf movie?
Silver Bullet. Love
Nice.
Silver Bullet. That's a that is might just fuck CP's world up. Anyway, so yeah, I love how that movie just kind of has that classic Stephen King feel to it, where it's like kind of a little bit coming of age, but you also get the horror elements in there. You get that small town feel to it. I mean, some of the effects are a little bit dated, of course, but it's just a really good movie. I mean, you got Corey Haim and you got Gary Busey. Don't need to say anymore. But yeah, that's a good one. And another one that's always been a favorite of mine because I grew up watching it, and this is an extremely unpopular answer. I love American Werewolf in Paris. I don't know why, but I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love London too, but yeah, Paris. I actually grew up watching. I saw it in the theaters when I was a kid. I thought it was badass whenever I was young, and it's one of those movies when I watch it, it's all nostalgia, but guilty pleasure, people.
I was just showing off my Silver Bullet VHS, by the way, just in case you were wondering. That's pretty awesome. Somebody sent that to me. It was really cool though, but. Yeah, I like Corey Haim. I haven't seen Silver Bullet in probably 20 years, but I remember really liking it. It was good, but American Werewolf in Paris, man, I don't remember that movie at all.
It's kind of a horror comedy, just like American Werewolf in London, but a little bit more lenient on the comedy side of it. But I always just like the concept they have where they have this serum that activates the transformation where they don't have to be a full moon. There's some cool stuff in that movie. I think it gets hated way too hard. It gets compared to London, which is most people's answer for best werewolf movie of all time. So I think it's unfairly hated on, but I will never say it's a good movie. I enjoy it. So
Rogue
CP, what's your
Reaper in
favorite?
the chat just mentioned Ginger Snaps, and I just watched Ginger Snaps for the first time a couple weeks ago. I really dug that movie. That was actually pretty damn decent. CP, have you ever seen Ginger Snaps?
Emily and I did a commentary for that on Patreon.
Oh, nice.
So you could watch it with us live.
Oh, that's awesome.
My Patreon. Yeah, so to answer your question, yes, we watched it. And you could
all three are pretty good actually.
Oh wow.
The second and third one are no way near the level of the first one, but like for straight to DVD material, they actually do a pretty good job. I think the third one's better than the
Is Catherine Isabel in the second or the third one?
She's in the third one.
Oh, okay.
So the second one follows the sister that nobody was attracted to from the first one, and the third film has them both back again. But the third one's kind of like a prequel set in the Old West.
Wow.
Yeah, I like all three, but the first one is my second favorite werewolf movie. I'd actually put the first one above American Werewolf in London. I think American Werewolf in London has a better change scene. But just as a film, I prefer Ginger Snaps. I like the social commentary of it all and the humor in it. It's great.
Review the movie, just donated 50 Danish kroner.
What is that?
I am not in Denmark.
I think that's $1 million.
No, 50 Danish kroner is like it's like $30. No, it's 6 kroner for every $1, so it's almost $10.
Even if he donated $1 or a kroner, thank you. That's very nice. Review the movie. And CP is not in Denmark. I can answer that question, right?
Yeah, I'm not in Denmark. That's correct.
The chat gave 2 great examples that we all missed, and I don't know how the hell me and Lee missed Teen Wolf.
Oh, dude.
Teen Wolf is awesome. And they also, it's not a whole movie, but the excerpt from Trick or Treat. Thank you, Jamie Honeycutt, because yes, that is a badass. That's one of the most badass parts of that movie.
Oh, it is. It is that's like my favorite segment of the movie. Anna Paquin. Oh my God, she was made to be a vampire. I mean, to be a werewolf. She killed it. Man.
Got to say as well, during the 90s, I had such a thing for Michelle Pfeiffer. So Wolf was a film that I always really liked. And on the subject of Denmark, actually, There's a Danish film called When Animals Dream, which was actually quite good.
That's recent, isn't it? That movie?
Yeah, it's pretty recent. But it's about a girl, a woman. She's becoming a werewolf, and it's done as it's more like an indie kind of drama, but with this werewolf element thrown in. But it's quite effective.
Oh man, how could I not remember this? I just reviewed Wildling, and it's like a brand new werewolf movie, and I liked it because you don't really see her as the werewolf until the end. It's more of like a coming of age, fish out of water type story, and throughout the whole movie, she's becoming a werewolf, and she doesn't even know that she's become. It's just she's like a different, a completely different creature. This whole like subsect of our planet that that werewolves exist, and she was like a fish out of water as a baby. I guess this werewolf hunter found her killed her mother, but raised her from a child. And I could be because I know she's human at first, and then eventually she becomes a werewolf. So the mother was pregnant, and the father was human. So it was one of those type stories. But it was actually a decent movie. I actually liked it quite a bit. So Wildling, I'd recommend checking it out. Yeah, there is a movie that everybody's talking about on Killer Flicks right now with Ethan Embry. It's on Netflix right now, and I've been meaning to watch it. I just can't remember the name of it. It's just a weird name for a werewolf movie. But if somebody knows that in the chat.
Dino in the chat. Dino, sorry.
What's up, Dino? How you doing, brother? Awesome. Thank you for the donation. Very nice. Yeah. Dino's got a great. If you want streams, like I think Dino's one of the best. Just check out his channel, Late Horror Show. He has some of the most entertaining streams I've ever seen. Like he lives
commentaries too. He does a lot of commentaries.
Too. Yeah. He's definitely one of the better horror streamers that I've ever seen. And I will say his layout completely inspired me. Like he was one of the first to make me say, I want to go outside of Google Hangouts, and I want to customize my stream and make it look, I guess, more me. But there's a little bit of Dino in there. So I have to give him credit for that.
Picking off that tree.
Yep. Horror Addicts are another one that they have great streams. So if you're not like subscribed to the Horror Addicts, definitely check out. I mean, they have some of the best streams I've ever seen. Layout wise and content wise. So, guys, are we done with werewolves? Do we want to jump over to Killer Flicks topics?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. I guess I'll go first for the Killer Flicks topics, and let me set this up. On our Facebook group, Killer Flicks, I said if you want to post a topic of discussion for us, we'll all pick a topic, give the person a shout out who created the topic, and it's just a fun way to mix things up. I like to be spontaneous with things. So the one I'm going to do is Victoria Rasmussen. She is actually like a makeup effects type of person. She has an Instagram page, and she's one of those really talented face makeup type people. I don't know if there's a name for them. That I'm sure there is, but her question was like, what's your favorite like makeup effects in film, like as far as like horror movies go? Which horror movie has the best like makeup effects, creature effects? And
The Thing.
Yeah, The Thing is probably my go-to for that. I think The Thing has what Rob Bottin did with the creature effects, and he was 21 years old at the time, and just going behind the scenes and just discovering everything that he went through, near exhaustion, to create what he did for The Thing is just amazing. And I've still to this day, I don't think I've ever seen creature effects like The Thing. It's like, it's not beautiful. It's just some of the craziest shit you've ever seen.
And American Werewolf in London is a pretty decent follow-up, close. The Fly, good call, Daniel Hammond.
Pan's Labyrinth as well.
What was that?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth, yeah.
Well,
Cody, what about
Hellboy 2 as well.
Sleepaway Camp. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm an asshole.
Next topic.
That's a different topic, I think. Most shocking endings of all time. I think Sleepaway Camp would have it.
That was a stunt cock, right?
Stunt cock, yeah. I was just talking about like backstories. That backstory is actually really interesting because I guess the guy that did it, to this day, nobody knows who the guy is. He
Right.
won't come out. They pretty much got him liquored up, gave him $200, and then pushed him in front of the camera.
$200.
Yeah,
to,
and he was,
to
I
swallow
guess
your
the word was after he shot the scene, like he went into this deep depression. He was crying and stuff on set and just, and you know, completely went into hiding. Never to this day has ever shown his face. So,
But only he knows, so it's a big deal.
yeah, crazy. Cody, what's your topic of discussion for Killer Flicks?
It's kind of a Cliff Notes version of what the actual question was, but I think what the person was getting at was kind of us discussing and debating what's the worst of like the big three, like Halloween Resurrection or Halloween 5, Freddys Dead, The Dream Child, Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Jason Takes Manhattan. Like, take your pick. I think just if all four of us just picked like what's the worst installment of all of those franchises and then try to debate why. I think it'd be kind of a cool, fun discussion.
Yeah. I'll let you start. What's your least favorite out of all of them?
This is not going to be any surprise to anybody. Freddys Dead, easily the worst.
Agreed.
I mean,
Jesus.
I mean, I'm not saying that the other movies that are in, that are going for this title are good, but here's the problem with when you look at movies like Jason X, if you don't like it, or Freddys Dead, or Jason Takes Manhattan, or Halloween or Resurrection, or something, or not Freddys Dead, Halloween Resurrection. They're poor movies, but they're still a Halloween movie. They're still a Friday the 13th movie. They still kind of hold on to what the franchise is to a degree. Freddys Dead, to me, as a Freddy fanatic, is like the ultimate betrayal of not only the franchise, but the character. It's everything that you don't, or at least I don't want Freddy to be. Freddy is a joke. He's a cartoon. The movie's like a Looney Tunes episode. It's not scary. He's not funny. It's not even well made. I mean, just everything about that movie. There's not a single redeeming quality in that entire movie to me. I know some people like Freddys Dead for the so bad that it's good elements. Like I can just watch it and be entertained. And me and Bryan have the same exact defense for Jason Goes to Hell. So I understand why like a Jason fanatic would have that same exact argument for why Jason Goes to Hell is the worst, but Freddys Dead to me is just like the ultimate middle finger to Nightmare on Elm Street, to Freddy, to Nightmare on Elm Street fans. I don't understand. It's like they took the director and some actors and went off into some realm dimension somewhere and made that movie and came back. Like I don't see how that movie didn't have one executive or studio head or somebody that stopped by set one day and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like I don't.
Yeah, I know what you mean because the. Like with the others, like Halloween, Resurrection, everything around Michael Myers is crap. But Michael Myers remains Michael Myers. He's recognizable as Michael Myers.
Yes.
And you can take that character and you can put him in any situation you want, and that's when you can change the genre, like you did with Jason X. Jason's still Jason. It's just, let's make a sci-fi film with Jason.
Yes.
Whereas Freddy's Dead, it's like, what are they going for? Because everything around Freddy is crap, but Freddy is crap. Freddy isn't Freddy, and it's like, what is this film? Because it doesn't really fit in anywhere with the rest of the franchise.
Yeah.
Like you look at Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, and it's so different to the other films in the franchise because they're making this kind of social commentary on homosexuality and whatnot, and it kind of just veers in a different direction. But Freddy is Freddy, and that's
one
what's
of the
important.
best versions of Freddy, actually, too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
is that your pick, Bryan, for least favorite?
Freddy's Dead, least favorite, followed by. So I want to say Halloween Resurrection, but man alive, there's some real piss poor Friday the 13th movies.
My runner-up would be Jason Takes Manhattan.
Jason Takes a Boat to Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly.
What a jip.
And it's still a Friday the 13th movie-ish. Like it has some of those elements, but Jason Takes Manhattan was just painful for me to get through whenever I had to review it. Like that movie drags its fucking feet until like the last 15 minutes, and then you get some cool stuff, but then it ruins it with the ending.
Yep.
I can get entertainment from Jason Goes to Hell. I can get entertainment from Jason X. Jason Takes Manhattan makes me want to take a nap.
I guess my least favorite, if we're including it, I'm definitely gonna say Seed of Chucky. Like, as much shit as I give Halloween Resurrection, if I'm making like a list of what's the worst of the worst, Resurrection's probably one of the best of the worst, and I hate that movie. But Seed of Chucky is just, I can't even get through the damn thing. It's not a horror movie; it's a comedy. The movie is hinged on Glenn, who is arguably the worst character ever created in horror history.
Oh yeah, he's pissing himself again.
Yeah,
this was funny the first 4 times.
Yeah, it's I can't watch that movie. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. Whereas Resurrection, for example, Jason Takes Manhattan, I'll watch those movies again. I'll make fun of them as I'm watching them, but they're not painful for me to watch. You know, they're just really bad movies. Even Jason Goes to Hell. There's some entertainment value in there. So yeah, I guess that's my pick.
Yeah, that's up there for me too. I wasn't even really thinking about Chucky, but yeah. Seed of Chucky, that was agonizing to watch in the theater. I mean, after Bride of Chucky, which I saw in the theater with my dad, and however many years between those movies, just waiting for the follow-up to what I think was an awesome return to form with Bride of Chucky, and then I got that. Oh, that was like getting kicked in the nuts for 90 minutes.
Cody, do you remember who asked that question? I'm looking for it on Killerflix. I don't remember who.
I do not. I do not remember.
I will look for it throughout this, and if I see it, I'll let you guys know. But CP,
what were you on about? You on about the? He mentioned it. It was Phase something. Was it? You on about that werewolf movie?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Somebody mentioned it just up here.
Yeah. If you're in the chat, if you ask that question, let us know so that way we can give you credit.
But, it's called Late Phases. Late Phases.
Oh yeah, that's it. Late Phases. That's the movie I was thinking of. That looks really interesting. Actually,
it's brand new.
Yeah, I don't know if it's brand new, but it's on Netflix right now.
It's an old one. It's an old one, isn't it?
Okay. You said Ethan Embry, so I didn't know if this was coming off of Devil's Candy. Like all of a sudden now he's going to be the new horror guy or what? So I wasn't
the new
sure.
Netflix horror guy.
Yeah.
CP, what's your least favorite?
So, guys, I don't know if you guys know this. I'm a big toy collector, and some of my favorite toys are Jason as a black mortician, or Jason as a newscaster, or Jason as a bald sheriff.
Don't you say it.
Homoerotic shaving.
For as much as you say Freddy isn't Freddy and Freddy's dead, at least Robert Englund is there in a Freddy suit. Fucking Jason Goes to Hell is a bunch of dudes, I don't know, doing Jason things. They retcon everything, introducing family members and special weapons. Listen, I'm a Friday guy, and it's just like you had 8 movies, and you just had to make this left-hand turn.
It's Season of the Witch,
now.
You know. That's really
Roger from Channel Dawnstar says this movie is very similar to something else that came out like 3 years before it, and I keep forgetting to get the name of it.
The Hidden.
That's it. That's it, Lee.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's the same fucking movie.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And I guess they didn't know they had never seen The Hidden. Adam Marcus when he wrote it.
Yeah, he said that in the documentary too. I think. Yeah.
Just to give him credit on that, because I guess that does happen sometimes. But
don't hate me, Adam. I know you're a fan.
Just in reference to the comments you just made about Friday the 13th.
Here we go.
Right.
Here we go.
Nightmare on Elm Street hinges entirely on Freddy's personality. Like, he is a fully kind of fledged character in that regard. Jason is a man mountain with a machete, and I get why people love him, because they want to see him butcher people, but you literally put any big guy in a mask there, you've got him. Whereas with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, Robert Englund was so irremovable from that character across all of those films.
We've had that before. I didn't mention A New Beginning we've had this is kind of Jason, but it isn't. But at least it was like a copycat kind of thing.
It still feels like a Friday the 13th movie.
Right, where this is just his heart commands the people to beat it, and then they're Jason, and then the fucking snake man comes out of their throat, and then wherever the snake man goes, that's the actual Jason. Oh, and also he has a sister that we never heard about, and she's actually got to kill him with a sword that nobody talked about until just now. And by the way, there's this guy that's been following him, and though he's been doing nothing over the course of 120 kills, now suddenly decides to start perking up. It's just too much crammed in at once. It's just, as a Friday fan, it's just too much to swallow.
Yeah. I can see from the perspective of a Friday fan why somebody wouldn't like it. Mm-hmm. But as someone who came to the series fairly late, I mean, I did see two of them way back when I was a teenager. I enjoyed them. The one that I saw is still one of my favorites, but I'm not that religious about it.
Right.
Whereas. So I can look at just escaped my brain. Jason Goes to Hell. I can look at Jason Goes to Hell and say, you know what? This is absolutely bat crap crazy, but it's bloody enjoyable. It's all.
And I can see that. It's like if they made a new Batman movie and suddenly. I don't know, is insert element here that his parents are actually ghosts and they give him power to do this. You'd be like, that's bullshit. That has nothing to do with anything. But I'd be like, that's a neat angle.
To me, it's down to how they go about it. Because when it was announced that Heath Ledger's going to be playing the Joker. Okay. Two, he isn't going to be scarred by falling into a vat of acid. He's going to have a Glaswegian smile. Yeah. I'm like, whoa. His skin isn't bleached. He just puts on makeup. No. I'm out. I'm done. I do not want to hear any more information on this crap. Then the film comes out and it's my best, it's my favorite film of all time. So it's all down to execution. You can do the wackiest ideas to change something up.
Right.
But it's all down to that execution. And that's the difference between genius and Halloween Resurrection, I guess.
If that wasn't a sloppy blowjob to Adam Marcus, I don't know what was, because we just Dark Knighted and Jason Goes to Hell in the same sentence. So,
what gives you the right, Bryan?
Because I was in a very similar situation with Bryan. A lot of the Friday the 13th movies I had never seen before like a year and a half ago, and when I watched them all for the first time as a marathon. It was a rough marathon because those movies, I've grown to like them quite a bit now that I've reviewed them and kind of analyzed them. I've watched them multiple times before I reviewed them. So now I can say that I'm a Friday the 13th fan. I'm not a fanatic, but there's certainly some that are better than others. But the problem what made me like Jason Goes to Hell so much was that I had just got done watching 8 movies that aesthetically are like 70% the same.
Yeah.
Like it's just, okay. Dumb people enter the woods, Jason fucks them up, and then we can move on to the next one. And and after you get over the Jason Lives hump, it progressively gets worse. So it was just like, oh fuck, and then you finally get to Jason Goes to Hell, and it was so, just like he said, it was so batshit crazy and weird and different that even though it has absolutely no reason to exist, it has no place in the franchise whatsoever. I had a blast with it because it was like a huge breath of fresh air after watching, especially 7 and 8. So, I enjoyed it.
Before I get to Bryan and CP's question, King Snyder 3310 in the chat kind of brought up an interesting topic idea. His comment was, "Death has come to your little town, Sheriff," and Dr. Loomis obviously said that, and it got me thinking, like, as far as like who is the best supporting character out of all the major horror franchises, I think Dr. Loomis would probably take the cake. Like, I can't think of a character. I mean, you could probably say Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street, but I think nobody. I mean, that's my pick, I guess. But
he's the most prevalent.
Yeah, I think he's such a great character. He really is, just because of how authoritative he is. He has this like the strongest connection with the killer than any of the other franchises. I don't know. It's kind of out of left field, but I just thought that'd be kind of an interesting topic to discuss. Would you guys agree with me on that, or do you have a character a supporting character that you like, that you just love almost as much as the killer himself? CP.
I agree with you. Next topic. Next person.
Okay.
No, seriously. It's Loomis.
You can't beat.
And it's not close. It's not close to me.
I don't.
Trent from Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Trent, next to Trent, there's Trent, and then there's Loomis, and then there's just a sharp. There's a sharp cliff
Axel
drop
from Final
after that.
Chapter.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a side character. I don't really consider Nancy a side character. She's the main character. So as far as like just like an interwoven character that follows the killer, that's really the only one. Because you got Tommy Jarvis in arguably 3 movies, but most fans would say 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Nancy's in 2 movies if you consider her a side character. Alice is in 2 movies if you consider her a side character. Loomis is in 5 of the Halloween movies, and he would have been in more if he didn't pass away.
Randy in Scream.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's just mentioned.
Yeah, Randy's a good one. But I mean, I'll
Randy's
even say that, like, if you didn't have Loomis, I don't think Halloween would be as popular as it is. I mean, it'd be popular, but I think Loomis is a major reason why people become obsessed with that franchise. I mean, that was one of the reasons that hooked me in.
It'd be hard to give a shit because he's all the exposition.
He is.
You can't have anything going on without Loomis, because he's basically telling you what the hell's going on.
We would never know that they were siblings because he wouldn't have had that quick conversation in the car that answered everything.
He's even like one of the first, like, you have that character that enters a movie and he's telling you how badass the main killer is, like Troutman in Rambo. I think Troutman owes a debt to Loomis because Loomis, he's like, let me tell you how badass Michael Myers is and why he's gonna fucking kill everybody in your little town. And that's pretty much what Troutman did to Rambo.
Austin Powers.
You say that many soldiers, you might want to supply a good amount of body bags. That's Loomis.
The thing is, it's all down to Donald Pleasence, because like if you'd have made John Carpenter's Halloween exactly as it is now, but we never had Donald Pleasence in the role, but say we stick, I don't know, Malcolm McDowell in the role.
Oh my god.
Okay? If you put Malcolm McDowell in that role, give him the same dialogue, the John Carpenter dialogue, he's in John Carpenter's movie, it would not be as iconic. It wouldn't be as iconic. It's because it's all expositional dialogue.
Dick.
And yet
No, but you're right. I mean, there's just a delivery that Donald Pleasence has, a presence, the Pleasence presence, I guess, that cannot be. Matt, he was made for that role. I guess he's typecast for that role. Luckily, it was later in his life that he did it. But yeah, I love talking about Loomis. So, CP,
yes,
give me your question from Killer Flicks.
Oh, Cody Archer asked if you could go back and experience any movie for the first time in a theater, what would it be? I'm going to kind of split and give my favorite experience in the theater, which was Saw. I saw the opening weekend and the ending. The ending for Saw, for atmosphere alone, the whole fucking theater was just like, whoa. Like, you could just, the energy in the room was just really neat. But obviously, if I could go back and experience something for the first time, it would be the first Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Just because.
That's a good question.
Another good ending.
Yeah. Cody, what's your answer on that?
Mine would probably be Dream Warriors. Like, just because I would love to be in the theater when that version of Freddy kind of came upon the screen. You know what I mean? When you got, like, the first one would be badass too, but the third one, that was like kind of the return to form after the second movie. It's a little bit more, not quite as extreme as the fourth one, but a little bit more MTV. It's still got very dark horror elements, but you got a lot more of comedic, more maniacal, personality-wise Freddy. I mean, with Doc and just the whole era, I think that would be a blast to go and just kind of experience that opening night.
Cody, you know how awesome you think that experience would be?
You had it?
I had it, and it was even better. When Dream Wars is like in my top probably 5 theater experiences of all time. I remember, like, just like it was yesterday, I was on a date and I think we were sitting like close to the front row or something like that. But man, I just remember the energy for that movie was bigger than any other horror movie I had ever seen in the theater up to that point. Like, I just remember there was just like a fever in the crowd. Freddy was like huge at the time, and everybody was just, the movie fired on all cylinders. When I remember the moment when Nancy comes in and Freddy goes, "You." I'm telling you, the crowd went fucking nuts. It was insane. It was so I'm glad you mentioned that one, because that was such a great experience. It really was. Bryan, what about you?
Well, I wouldn't have been able to see it at the cinema when it came out, because it came out the year I was born. But if I could have been in a theatre watching a film when it first came out, I'd pick The Shining.
Oh man!
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sorry.
Yeah, or even Alien, because
that's a good one.
Yeah,
or Psycho. Damn it! Let's keep going further back.
Yeah.
You know, that chest burst.
Nosferatu.
It first happened. That chest burst scene in Alien, you know, there was so many news reports about the reaction it got from people. So yeah, I'd have loved to have been part of that reaction.
Well, I'll share I have two answers for this. As far as like my best theater experiences, I got to go with Halloween 4 and Rocky 4. That's funny, they're both 4s. But Halloween 4 was the first Halloween movie I saw in the theater. I wasn't a Halloween fanatic like I am now. It's funny, like before I saw Halloween 4 in the theater, I wasn't that. As soon as I left the theater, I was a Halloween fanatic. That's what Halloween 4 did to me. When that ending happened, I just remember the theater, like there was just like collective gasp when Loomis, he's going up the steps and he starts going, no, and like the crowd's just flipping out like, oh my God, like nobody saw that like Jamie was gonna be the killer, and it gave me nightmares. Like it freaked me out for quite a while. That was still to this day one of the scariest moments I've ever had in a movie theater, and it made me obsessed. So that's the first one. Then Rocky 4. Oh my God, that freaking fight at the end I was 13 years old when I saw that one, but it was one of those where the theater, like, it was like 4 movies they were showing. They shut down all the other movies and they just showed Rocky 4. That's how big Rocky 4 was when it first came out. And
good old interlock.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, like the date that I was on, the girl that she did not like Stallone, she didn't like Rocky. I can't remember, but I remember her saying, I don't want him to win.
That's one date now.
Yeah. I've been on a lot of dates. And so by the end of the movie, she was like rooting for Rocky. And it's funny, like in the movie, they say, it's funny how a few cheers now for Rocky from the Russian audience. That's literally what happened in the theater with my date. She was like, go Rocky. And when he picks up the Russian and like slams him on the mat, it was like watching a real fight. It really was. Like the theater was just, it was like when Thor came down in Avengers Infinity War and the theater just like erupted. It was pretty much like that. So that's my 2 answers. But great question, Cody Archer.
Hell yeah.
I got a little bit too excited, sorry. I love a good theater experience though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, nothing's going to beat Nosferatu though.
No, nothing. Nosferatu takes the cake. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Victoria Rasmussen's in the chat now. I just want to let her know we did her question earlier, so when you go back and watch the replay, you'll see your question in it. That was my pick. CP, you gave us that was your question, right, CP?
Yeah, I read Cody Archer's question, yeah.
Okay. Bryan, did you do your question yet?
Not yet. I'll do it. I just on the question CP picked, I thought we were going for horror films, but
so did I. That's not fair that he picked Rocky for the record.
Yeah, my bad.
If it had been favorite cinema experience to relive again, I would definitely have gone for The Dark Knight. Because
that's
man, that was just the best. That is the best experience I've ever had in a theater. Right. So the question that I went for was Dominic Howard. He says, can we just talk about cosmic horror like Alien, Fly, cool. Thing? It doesn't get much love as it should. And given that I'm a huge sci-fi fan, it's it is kind of my favorite type of horror.
And you can plug your Facebook group too if you want.
Cine Sci-Fi, go and check it out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just if you love sci-fi, that's the place to talk about it. But I love science fiction and I love horror, and when the two meet, you get some of the best films ever made. You know, Alien being the obvious standout, but I just I reviewed a film, Sunshine, recently, which has just so grown on me over the years, but it's got this whole kind of third act horror movie vibe to it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are put off by. They don't like that aspect of it, but I love it. To me, it's Danny Boyle's best film. It's just grown on me that much. But yeah, you know, Alien and the sequel, obviously, the Predator movies I really love, which kind of what CP mentioned before. He said that the Predators trailer apparently is going to drop tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the word.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to that.
Bird is the word too.
Yeah,
The bird.
big shame, but I really want to see that. So, yeah, what about you guys? What are your favorite kind of?
I got one. Chris Arkana. Let me see your name. Henrit. God, I just butchered his last name, I'm sure. He just mentioned it. Event Horizon. I just rewatched Event Horizon. I think last week, a couple weeks ago, I reviewed it, and wow, that movie is it's a Hellraiser movie, really, kind of. But I think it embodies everything I want in a sci-fi movie, because I guess I prefer when a sci-fi horror movie isn't 100% horror. There's like kind of half and half, and that's what Event Horizon does. It starts off as just a straight up sci-fi movie, but by the time they I guess the last act, it turns into like a straight up full on horror movie, much like Alien does. But yeah, just really, really good movie, actually. I enjoyed that one. That's my pick. Cody?
I mean, the obvious answer is The Thing, but I mean, if we're going to talk about something different, yeah, Event Horizon's always been a really good one. Science fiction horror. I'm trying to think of something that's kind of a unique pick.
Annihilation.
I didn't get a chance to see that one.
Dude, you got to check that out, Cody.
I know, I missed it. That was one of the ones that I missed.
Same rights with Sunshine as well.
Trying to look on Google, like best horror sci-fis for one that we have not mentioned 1,000 times. Oh, The Faculty. I love The Faculty.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's a big favorite of mine. And yeah, I love science fiction and I love horror, but whenever they kind of come together in a nice even mix and we get a great movie, man, there's few things that are better than that. So yeah, it's not like my I wouldn't say it's my favorite sub horror genre, but whenever that shit hits.
Ooh, Tyshawn Anderson, Species. Thank you. Oh my God, the first Species. Wow.
Let go, you motherfucker.
Was that a horror movie? I forget. It's just, whew. I mean, when you can overshadow Giger's work himself, good on you, Natasha Henstridge. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
CP?
Well, I would have said Alien, and then I would have said The Thing. so I guess I'll take Annihilation.
Jason X.
Just threw up in my mouth.
Oh no.
Oh.
Annihilation is that the bit that you specifically probably thinking about with it, where it turns horror is
it's very Cronenbergy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The
Relic. Yeah. Relic. I love the Relic.
I think Annihilation's like my number 2 of the year behind Infinity War, which I'm shocked Infinity War is my number 1. I wouldn't have never dared guess.
We all are.
Yeah. Just wait until my third watch. What's up, Lindsay Mother Mayhem in the chat? You missed a lot. You need to go back and watch it after this. Okay. But yeah. Somebody mentioned The Cube. Have you guys ever seen The Cube?
I've always heard about it, but I've never seen Cube.
I never seen it either.
It's on Netflix.
Life Force. Good call.
Oh, Life Force is another one I haven't seen, but I've been dying to see. For
That's
species
a canon
reasons.
film. Toby Hooper.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Sorry. I'll get back in line.
Yeah, I need to see Life Force. That's a canon film movie.
Dude, it's like it's a naked chick who's very well endowed for the good opening act. It's just like, can somebody get this girl a robe or something?
They don't go full on showgirls, do they? Where you're like, when you get sick of seeing booby, you know there's something
No,
right or something's
she's
wrong.
gorgeous. It's not that.
Oh
you
yeah,
sick
I
of
know.
it.
I've
It's just
seen
like
her.
it's just like, all right, all right. I'm distracted now. Now you gotta let me. I gotta pay attention to the movie.
Chris Arcana, yeah, Life was really good. I think I'm in the minority in that one.
Oh no, I'm with you, Brian. I loved Life.
I'm in the minority on that one and saying, ugh.
I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, it really felt like that Venom prequel that I wish it would have been.
You wanted
like
it to be that so badly. I remember that. We were talking about this.
We had a big old discussion about Life actually.
Mm-hmm.
But Calvin, I went into Life not expecting to love the villain, I guess, quote unquote villain, and Calvin ended up being like a showstopper. Like, holy shit, this thing means business. Like, this is and like on a, I don't want to say alien level. I'm just talking about as far as the creature goes, as far as being menacing. When he spoilers, when he kills Ryan Reynolds, that scene was pretty damn shocking, like gruesome. So,
you could have said the first kill.
This is one that I don't remember too much about it aside from how cool some of the twists were, even this story wise. Is any of you guys a fan of Pandorum?
Somebody mentioned that in the chat. Actually, I saw it one time. Don't remember much of it at all.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I honestly don't remember if I liked it or not, but I remember the story, like how it all unfolded and how some of the reveals and everything went. I remember it being a really clever story and with some cool execution. Obviously, it's not. Nobody fucking remembers it, so it wasn't like an awesome movie. But
I do feel like I need to revisit it because it's come up quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I remember buying it. I remember that that Dennis Quaid is in it, and I remember the twist at the end of how everything goes. I just don't remember if the journey is as entertaining as my memory of it. But that's throwing one out that nobody's mentioned in a while.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the situation I was in with Event Horizon. Like, I really had no desire to revisit Event Horizon, and then I think, well, let me back up. The thing I remember about Event Horizon when I first saw it was I fell asleep because back then my kids were little, and I was tired all the time. And I fell asleep through like most of the movie. But when I woke up, they were in the middle of their like completely shitstorm of hell that was going on. And I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? And so I never visited it again. And then somebody started mentioning it on Killer Flicks. And I was like, maybe I'll give this movie another watch. And when I watched it again the next time, I was like, oh yeah, that was actually pretty decent. So I'll probably do that with Pandorum. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do we want to move on to the next topic? The news?
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, the first news topic I got, this kind of got me excited too. Fede Alvarez, who is one of my favorite horror directors working today, he posted on Twitter, what do you want me to do next? Do you want me to do Evil Dead 2 or do you want me to do Don't Breathe 2? And
Don't Breathe 2.
That got me excited. Most people said Evil Dead, including myself. I freaking loved it. Evil Dead Remake is one of my favorite. I guess let's start with that. Our thoughts on the Evil Dead remake. I think personally, it's like it's probably my favorite remake, just because it doesn't copy the first one at all, but it takes what was great about the first one and kind of, I guess, punctuates it. I mean, just. Puts a nice malaise of balls all over the top of it. That's the best. I mean, it's bloody as hell. It doesn't hold back. It's no apologies. Yeah, I love the first. I mean, the Evil Dead remake. Jane Levy was amazing in it. I like how everybody's gonna say there's no way they'd stay in that damn cabin, but
it was a believable premise. If she was trying to kick drugs and they thought maybe she was hallucinating, it's believable.
Yeah. Clever.
That was a movie for tried and true horror fans. It was not for, and I love when studios like, what's the movie that just came out that was a complete shitstorm of a movie? Truth or Dare. Let's grab those non-horror fans with our nice little sugar-coated PG-13 rating and make it happy for everybody. Evil Dead Remake said, fuck that. Let's make a movie for straight-up horror fans. If you're not a horror fan, get the fuck out of the theater. That's what I loved about the Evil Dead remake. And I'm throwing my mic down on the ground right now.
Lee, just for the record, Blumhouse produced in Truth or Dare.
I know that. I know. Damn it.
That's one of the very, very, very few movies that I can honestly remember having one of those Lee moments.
Yeah.
Where I saw it in theaters, and I think that I expected a certain thing, and I think I was so hung up on what I wanted the movie to be that when I saw what it was, I didn't like it at all. Like, I did not like Evil Dead at all when I first saw it.
Yeah.
A couple of years after that, I bought it on Blu-ray. I watched it at home and fucking loved it. I don't know what it was that changed. Like, I'm not a gigantic Evil Dead fan to begin with. I love Army of Darkness. I can enjoy the first two, but I'm not like a fanatic by any means. So I think I was expecting the movie to be straight up like scare fest, and it was also overhyped with the marketing, like scariest movie in 20 years, you know, that kind of shit that they do. So because it was more of just kind of a splat movie where it's like as gory extreme as it can go, and you know, some of that stuff, I think it kind of turned me off when I was expecting to be scared. But I love the Evil Dead remake.
I was kind of like you. I'm sorry, CP. I was kind of like you, Cody. With I wasn't a big Evil Dead fan when I saw the Evil Dead remake. It kind of ignited my interest in Evil Dead. I think I saw the first two movies before, but I didn't. Yeah, I liked them, but I wasn't like a fanatic. But after I saw the remake, I went back and started really appreciating the originals. CP, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say they missed up an opportunity to have Slayer's Raining Blood play at the
end.
Oh
my God, you're right about that.
So fan edit. It was a nonsense thing to say. Sorry.
Power Up Productions says Levy is one of the best final girls of the past 20 years. I would agree with that. I mean, Don't Breathe, and that's a 1-2 punch right there. And she was in another movie I saw recently too called I Don't Want to Live in This World. It's one of those really eccentric long titles for movies. I liked her in that movie too, actually. But yeah, she's great. Bryan, what are your thoughts on the Evil Dead remake? Shake it up.
Not seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I was never that big on the original Evil Dead films.
Yeah.
I've not, in all fairness, I've not seen the first one. I've seen Evil Dead 2 and I've seen Army of Darkness. Wasn't that sold.
Well, the first one's a straight up horror movie.
Yeah.
2 and 3 are more like horror
dated
comedies.
as fuck, but it's
Yeah. I really loved Don't Breathe, so I'd like to see a sequel to Don't Breathe.
I voted for Don't Breathe too.
Yeah, I don't have any vested interest in Evil Dead. It's not. I'll probably get around to watching it at some point, but it doesn't excite me. Whereas Don't Breathe, if you can get a sequel to that as good as the first one, then you've really got. I mean, I already think we've got an iconic character in the Blind Man. But I just think, he could. I mean, Stephen Lang is just kicks ass anyway. But I think he's. I'd love to see them position him as a modern kind of horror icon, so to speak.
Why Stephen Lang is not Cable is beyond me, and I know I'm like I'm
I don't know, but I love what I'm seeing from Josh Brolin though.
Yeah, me too.
I'm especially after seeing what he did with Thanos. I'm sold. I'll let him do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, I mean he earned his keep on that one.
Yeah, my reason why I voted for Don't Breathe 2 is because I think that you have much more chances of making a really good sequel with Don't Breathe than you do with Evil Dead, because I feel like a lot of the tricks that they pulled and succeeded with in the Evil Dead remake, you can't really do that with the sequel. I mean, are you going to bring Jane Levy back to be the Ash character, or are we going to get a new set of people? I mean, the whole thing about trapping them in the cabin because of her drug addiction and having the whole who's going to be Ash at the end of it, like, you can only really do that once. Like, if anybody could do it twice, it's Fede Alvarez, but I like Bryan said, I think that there's much more potential for a badass follow-up to Don't Breathe versus Evil Dead.
Lindsay, how do you fall asleep during Don't Breathe? I don't get that. That Don't Breathe is freaking enthralling. That's a great movie. And that last act, unfortunately they ruined it in the trailer, but man, that last act is freaking balls to the wall.
That movie, that's the movie that kind of made me not watch trailers anymore, and I managed to avoid them because I had heard somebody say that the trailer for Don't Breathe ruins it, and I swear I was so anticipating that movie that anytime the trailer would come on in the theater, I would leave. And I'd go stand in the hallway for 4 or 5 minutes, and I'd come back. Like I managed to walk into that one blind, and I'm so thankful that I did.
It's funny that you mentioned that because the latest Jurassic World trailer pretty much spoils the whole movie, And I remember there's a guy that I work with, and he's like obsessed with Jurassic Park. And he was like, no, watch the third trailer. It's great. It doesn't give away too much. And I watched the third trailer, and I wanted to punch him in the face. Luckily, I don't care about Jurassic Park that much. But that if you haven't seen the last trailer for Jurassic Park, please avoid it.
Those trailers for that movie have been so different. It feels like it's given us everything. Like they had the really weird announcement trailer that had that annoying ass repeated music. And then now we had like the more horror-centric trailer, and then you had the more adventure trailer. It's like,
what are you trying to be?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're going for.
I know, it's weird. CP, did you give us your thoughts on Evil Dead remake?
Yeah, I'd like it, please. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
That's it.
Turkey baster. Robbie, nice mention, Robbie, of the turkey baster. I guess Bryan had a nice little transition there into Don't Breathe, because that movie definitely deserves some discussion. I just wish I didn't see that freaking trailer, because the turkey baster scene. I guess even seeing the trailer though, it was pretty damn shocking, because obviously they didn't show the turkey baster. But I just remember watching that scene in the theater and a collective gasp amongst the audience, like, "Oh my God, Jesus!"
Oh yeah,
she like shoved it right in his mouth. Whew.
Oh,
that was rough. Oh my God, and I probably just spoiled it for Lindsay. Sorry.
That movie was such an awesome experience just to kind of see it all unfold. And the funniest thing about my theater experience with Don't Breathe is that there was actually a blind guy in the theater watching it with me.
What?
And it was fucking weird. I thought maybe he was cosplaying, I swear to God, but I didn't want to be a dick and say it. So like, he kind of
maybe he was going full method and he really wasn't blind.
Me and Holly were sitting down. She's like, "How funny would it be if that blind guy in the auditorium or in the lobby was going to come in and watch Don't Breathe?" I was like, "That'd be pretty fucked up." And right as I said that, the dude walked in and his wife was holding his hand and guided him upstairs. I was like, "Fuck, I'm going to hell."
Just a big fan for blind movies, man.
Yeah,
gotta show my love.
Burning in hell. Oh Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
segue.
Yeah, nice segue. I guess into the.
Cody airbagging it for once.
Mm-hmm. So are we done with the Fede Alvarez news? Do we want to jump into I guess I don't have it listed on there, but I guess the Predator trailer drops tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
This is a movie that I know it's coming, but I haven't heard too much news about it. You know, so I guess they're keeping everything close to the vest. Bryan, what do you know about the new Predator movie? Anything?
The only thing that I need to know, which is that it's written and directed by Shane Black.
Thank you.
I'm there.
Thank you.
Yes.
I set him up, you knock him down.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Shane Black tell him, Bryan, why is Shane Black so awesome?
Oh, Matt, he knows how to write characters.
Yeah.
Just his dialogue just slays me every time. And anyone who's not seen The Nice Guys yet, get your ass into gear and watch it. Just he has this habit of taking really mismatched couples, like couples that you can't imagine being on screen together, and then makes it work. You know, he started that way back when with Lethal Weapon, but he does it every time. You know, I would never have thought Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe would make, you know, and this the same with Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer. It's like I want to see what the group dynamics are going to be like.
You know, I had my problems with The Nice Guys, but I can't deny that like Russell Crowe and Ryan Reynolds were gold in that movie, like through the whole thing.
I had absolutely no problems with The Nice Guys at all.
You and most people, except for everybody that didn't go see it. It is crazy that movie was universally acclaimed, but it bombed at the box office, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is one of those examples why I want to punch people in the face when they say there's no original movies anymore.
Yeah, Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
that's a crying shame right there, man. That
Annihilation for two reasons: because people complain that there's not enough movies with women in it, and you fucked that one up because there was nothing but women in that movie. Jerks.
Yeah,
you jerks. Who's the main? Is it Joel Kinnaman, the main dude in Predator?
I don't know if he's the main one. I don't even know if there's going to be a main character. They got him. They've got the guy. I think he just won for It's the guy that played one of the lawyers on the O.J. Simpson FX thing. I think he's in it. The kid from Room is in it.
Jake Tremblay.
Jacob Tremblay, yeah, he's in it.
I'm just waiting for my Arnie cameo.
Yeah. He's got to be it. He has to have a cameo in it, dude. He's denied it, but that would make no sense.
Yeah, I guarantee if Arnold was asked to be in it, he'd be in it. You know, because he's kind of taking a lot of things that he shouldn't take these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can't leave Terminator alone. And I think at this point, I'm fine with a Terminator movie without Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know?
Yeah. Well, they got that new one coming out with Linda Hamilton.
Yeah,
so
I know.
We'll see.
That'll be crazy.
We'll see. She better get in shape.
Yeah. Undead Zombie. We talked about Halloween for probably a good 20 minutes at the beginning of this. So if you go back and click the replay, you'll see a lot of good Halloween talk in there. Yeah, I mean, for Predator, it's hard to compete with a movie that, in my mind, is perfect, like almost perfect. The first Predator is one of my favorite movies ever.
It's the manliest movie ever made.
It really is. It's so good.
Well, hold on. If we don't count the AVP movies, is there really a bad Predator movie?
No.
I don't think so. I mean, I would say that 2 and Predators is still like a far cry from the first one, just because the first one is so freaking amazing. You know?
I thought Predators was pretty good.
But it's still good. Yeah, Predator, but they're both 3.5 out of 5 movies. You know?
Oh, excuse me. I stand corrected.
Yeah, that's okay. But Predator is like a 10 out of 5 movie. I mean, it's just that. It's freaking amazing. You got Arnold at his best. You got the ultimate villain with Arnold at his best. You got this irresistible group of soldiers with Arnold, and every single one of them is fleshed out. I mean, perfect to a T. You know every one of them, like their backstories, everything. And Sonny Landham almost steals the show. It's just so many great things about Predator. It's one of those perfect storms of movies, you know. Yeah, I came. So.
Pat of the 1-2 punch for the director as well after
Thank
Die
you.
Hard.
Yeah. John McTiernan. I mean, it's perfect. You guys want to move on to bad theater experiences?
Sure.
Oh, this will be a good one. Bryan, tell me about your last or your worst theater experience.
Oh man, I've had so many to count. So many knobheads.
You make that sound so nice and delightful. Knobheads.
Knobheads. So many knobheads.
Sounds like a candy. Chocolate frosted knobheads.
Anybody want a knobhead?
Chocolate salty cluster fucks.
Oh man.
Well, I did do a rant video on it way back when, but I guess the funniest one was this guy who had the squeakiest shoes and would not keep his bloody feet still.
That is strange.
I went to see Brooklyn, and literally. I went to see Brooklyn. I knew nothing about the film. I kind of went into it blind, and it's a bloody good film. Really good. Got nominated for a Best Picture, quite rightly so. But from start to literally, all the way through it, I'm questioning myself, and I'm thinking, what do I do here? Do I get up and move, and then just not let it bother me, or do I turn around and say, mate, keep your bloody feet still, will you? So I got up and I moved and I went to the front. But just first,
keep your bloody feet still. Did you tell him that? That's great.
Turns out the guy had restless leg syndrome.
Yeah.
But we had one as well where this guy was snoring.
Oh my god, I had the same one.
I think he had narcolepsy or something, because he was with someone, and me and my wife were sat a few seats down from them, and literally all you could hear was like that, and I'm like, it was really bothering me, and I just, in the end, I just lost it, and I told my wife to get up and me.
You know, I went and seen that Miles Teller boxing movie last year, and I swear to God, before the movie even started, there was a dude sitting behind us, and the loudest snore I've ever heard in my whole life completely just ruined the whole movie for me. I couldn't enjoy it at all. I remember my son like got so mad he like kicked the chair in front of us. I had to like calm him down. It was the worst. I guess I'll segue into my.
Just stay in bed.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Why would
if
you
want to
do
sleep?
that?
Stay in bed. There's places for that.
I think the perfect movie to talk about this is A Quiet Place, because I heard so many people ranting about their theater experiences because this movie is it's so quiet. Like you can hear a pin drop in the theater during this movie. And I saw it 2 times. First time was great. Second time, there were these teenage girls that were sitting, I think they were on my row, and they were all the way down. And they were just laughing and making fun of the movie. I mean, from the get, like when the movie started, they were already laughing and giggling. And I think I was the first person. I actually, ducked my head over and I was like, hey, could you please be quiet? I'm trying to enjoy the movie. And I usually never do that. I'm just that type of guy. But it was just so, and they wouldn't stop. Then they started making fun of me. They started like, yeah, they called me like a loser, and it was so funny. And then all of a sudden, this woman in the front stood up, turned around, and said, "If you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna kick your ass," or something like that. And everybody like started cheering, and it was great. And they shut up. It was so freaking awesome. But me, every time I try to say something, I must be like the most unintimidating person ever or maybe I'm just too nice. But
it's because you're a guy, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I've had this myself in cinemas, and it's always teenage girls.
Yeah, teenage
it's because
girls.
they know you can't do anything. What are you going to do? You can't go up to a teenage girl and give them a slap. I mean, you could, but you'd end up in prison. But it's just
what can you do?
another woman
Sometimes
can
it's worth it.
get up and tell them to shut up, and it's fine, and they'll listen because they know that woman is going to have no trouble giving them a slap.
Yeah, that's true. And my other theater experience was Krampus. I'll never forget that one. And it was kind of the same situation, but it was even worse. And I was like, I think that's the most angry I've ever left a theater. Like I was severely pissed off. Like I wanted to kill somebody. And because Krampus was a movie that I was looking forward to the whole year. It was like my Halloween of the year. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to see that movie so bad. And the whole experience was just completely ruined. So that was probably my other one. I was going to save the best for last because Cody just put out a freaking bang up video, and it was so freaking awesome. I wish theaters would actually show Cody's video before every movie.
Dude,
But
I've had like a dozen people comment that like this should be in front of every
it
single
was
movie
amazing.
in the theater.
Man. I was like cheering as I was watching it. It was so great. But before we get to
my
you,
God.
CP, do you have any bad theater experiences?
Well, just this year when I saw Annihilation.
Oh, man.
So we have these nice theaters that have recliner seats.
Yep.
The problem with those seats is the space in between the backrests is abnormally wide because they're recliners. So it was a packed house, and the seat in front of me, so they're all diagonal. There was a teenage girl who was on her phone throughout the whole movie, and the brightness was on, I need to find anything with a flashlight. It was just in my face throughout the whole damn thing. And it pissed the guy to my right off so much. He said, "You guys got to shut the fuck up and put the phone down." And then her boyfriend said, "Why don't you take it easy? We're going to quiet up now." And it was like, okay, but the phone's bothering me. I didn't say that. Put the fucking phone down. And she was just, sure enough, just on the phone throughout the whole thing. It was like trying to drive with a car driving in the opposite direction. But yeah, Cody, you go ahead and take this,
cell
'cause you
phones.
certainly
You
covered
just
it.
segued him right into it. I was saving that for Cody.
Motherfuckers with their cell phones, man.
Mm-hmm.
The two that I'll think of that are most recent, I mean, and at least once every movie that I see in theaters, for the most part, it happens at least once. But as far as like movies that like it almost ruins your experience, it's like every third movie that I go to, there's one asshole that just has no interest in anything but the cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
But the two worst ones, the one that sparked the video that I did, which was A Quiet Place, where the fucking asshole sitting to my right had his phone on his little rest, and anytime I guess it would buzz, he would flip it like this, swipe the notifications to clear it, and then swipe it back down. But every time he did that, it was like a fucking spotlight whoosh, right in my face. And it got to the point where, like, normally I would say something if it was that bad, but with A Quiet Place being so quiet, I know that if I was just like, hey, dude, can you put that away? The whole theater would be like, what the fuck's going on back here? Like, so I didn't bother with that, so I just kind of positioned myself kind of like this so that I would block it. And I made it through the movie that way, but I'm just like, I don't understand. Why the fuck you even go to a movie if you're just going to be on your phone the whole time? Like, I don't understand it at all. But the other one that I had, which was even worse, I went to go see Lights Out. And,
no pun intended.
Yes. The woman directly in front of me literally was on Snapchat, and anytime that like a jump scare scene was coming, and you could tell if you're a horror fan when it's coming, the music gets low, the camera swells in, you could tell something's going to jump out. She would flip her camera phone on and she would start recording it, and she would record the entire scene. Meanwhile, the fucking brightness is blinding me in my eyes, and then after the scene was over, she would sit there for 5 minutes putting like emojis and hashtags like lights out, opening night, smiley, like
God.
Every single scare in that movie. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck? And somebody must have said something, because eventually somebody from the theater came and stood kind of by her and watched, and she put it away, but the movie was already like 70 minutes in at this point, and the movie's not even 90 minutes long, I don't think. So that was one where it took everything I had not to do something, but it was just like, oh, that one was the worst. But just the whole thing, I don't understand. Like, there's so many things that you can do to make it a little bit like you're at least somewhat conscientious of other people's experience. Like, okay, if you're going to be an asshole and have your phone out the whole time, at least with modern day phones, they have this little thing called a fucking brightness bar.
Yeah.
And nobody knows that shit exists. Like, you can, I do it every single time I go to the theater. I don't just turn my phone all the way down. I turn the brightness all the way down, because God forbid, like, if something goes wrong with the kids or something and my phone is continuously going off, I'm going to check it, and I don't want to be that asshole. And if you have the brightness all the way down in a pitch black room, shocker, it's not that bright. You pull the thing out, you can see what's going on in your phone, but you don't alert the entire 200 fucking theater of people full theater that there's somebody in the room with their phone on. Oh my God. There was one that was funny as fuck though. When I saw Star Wars The Last Jedi for the second time, the movie, like, it was just past the opening crawl, and the shit was hilarious. I didn't even see it. I was just sitting there watching the movie, and all of a sudden this dude stood up and he's just like, bro, you're watching Star Wars. Put your fucking cell phone away. Bald guy, third row.
I love it when people do that. That's so awesome.
Like you said, when the theater like erupts after an asshole's been called out, I love that shit too.
Well, you know, that reminds me, when I saw The Force Awakens, this was a guy that I knew, and that's when it really gets awkward. He was a big Star Wars fan too. He was looking forward to the movie. I mean, we were talking about it, and we were like, okay, I'll meet you there at the theater. Star Wars, this is gonna be fucking awesome, yay! So we got to the theater. We're sitting down.
Did you actually say yay?
I did say yay. As soon as the movie started, he starts pulling out his phone like over and over and over and over. And I remember my son was actually sitting next to him, and my son, he was not having it. He's like Cody with freaking. He'll stand up to anybody in the theater with a freaking cell. Like, he's braver than me. And one of my friends is like sitting next to my son, and the guy's like pulling out his phone the whole time. And my son wanted to kill him, but he didn't say anything because the guy was my friend. But I literally had to like, what are you doing? Like, this is Star Wars. You've been wanting to see this, and you're going to look at your fucking phone the whole time? So we haven't talked that much since. So Star Wars might have ended my friendship.
And then we were one.
Yeah.
I just don't get it, man. At home, it's somewhat understandable. Like, I've seen movies, I've seen TV shows or whatever, where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of bored. Let's see what's going on with this. You know, hey, look, Lee and CP are talking about something. Like, you know what I mean? It's I get it at home, but when you're in the theater,
it's the complete lack of respect for
yes,
people.
And that's what I said in the video. I said all it is you're saying that my addiction to technology is more important than all of your experiences. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And
it's like you're making yourself the center of the universe. No one else gives a crap. And the thing that annoys me even more is those people who, when you challenge them on it, they come at you as if you're the one being a douche.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah,
like,
half the time you're going to get attitude.
Yeah, it's like you're ruining the theatre experience for everyone here But when someone calls you out on it, they're the ones being a douche.
Yep.
It's like, just get out, go home.
They're also the same people that'll leave the movie and say, that movie sucked.
Yeah.
How would you know? How would you know?
Yeah.
You know, you can
Luckily
go on,
for me,
you can go on like movie forums and read some pretty scary stories about, you know, bad theater experiences. Like I've read some stuff where some dude like pulled a gun out on the dude in the parking lot after the movie because the guy called him out. So that's kind of the world we live in today. You know, it can be pretty dangerous sometimes.
I had one of the most, like, when I went to see Hell or High Water, this was a movie that I was looking forward to for months, and it's because it's one of those movies that took forever to come to Savannah, and it finally did. And me and Holly got the kids situated, which is a very hard thing to do, and we finally were going to have a night to us. We're going to go see Hell or High Water. I mean, and I love the movie. We got to the last scene of the movie whenever Jeff Bridges goes to confront him at his porch. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And when I got to that scene, two guys walked into our theater. They looked up at all the people in the seats. One of them sat in the closest to the exit seat, the front left corner. The other one went up the stairs and sat in the opposite corner. I told Holly, I said, we're getting the fuck out of this theater. We got up. Yeah, it just felt weird to me. I'm like, something's not right about this. Yeah. You don't come into a theater at the end and the last scene and position yourself like that. We got up and we stood like where the little wall is, where the exit goes. And we stood there and we watched the end of the movie, like the last 5 minutes from a corner, and then hauled the fuck out whenever when that credits came, dude. I swear to God, I thought our theater was going to get shot up. That was
that's
such
crazy.
a weird experience.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that my alarms were going off. I'm like, we got to go. This isn't going to be good. Everybody run!
Daniel Hammond in the comments.
I like
says,
how you saved yourself.
Reading one of the
Someone's
users'
gotta live to tell the
comments, he said one of the theaters he went to, some drunk dude pissed all over the floor in one of the theaters, and he was arrested in the lobby. Did he piss quietly though? That's the important question.
They should make him clean it.
I saw a group of teenagers getting, I don't know if they got arrested, but they definitely got fined or ticketed or something like that. They were trying to sneak into a sausage party. And we were standing in the lobby, and they were arguing with the people who were taking the tickets that their mom said it was okay. And they're like, no, you're not old enough, trying to stick to the 18 and up rule or whatever. And they bought tickets for something else, and they walked into, or they didn't buy tickets at all. They had one friend go into the theater and open up the exit door, and like 17 of them came in from the outside and sat and watched the movie. And as soon as they went to go exit the theater with the same door, the fucking cops were there waiting on them. I was like, yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to get all freaking serious on you, but yeah, I mean, look what happened with The Dark Knight Rises. Nobody would have ever thought anything like that would happen. I mean, that was.
I don't think that had anything to do with the movie experience so much as the dude was fucked up.
Oh yeah, completely deranged, insane.
People are crazy, man. That's why I saw that, and every alarm in my body was like, "This is not going to be good." Nothing ended up happening, so I don't know what the fuck those guys are doing. But it's just
I always know where the aisles are, and always know where the exits are, just because of that shit.
I'm because of that. I'm always looking for the exit when I I'm ready, and I always like to sit like on the outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Not a problem we have to think about over here in the UK.
Yeah, well, you have all those knives over there, blood all over the London hospital floors. Knife bang, knife bang, knife bang.
One of the biggest.
Have you guys seen Demons? Like the whole movie takes place in a movie theater. And it's one of the best. Like it's an Italian horror film, Dario Argento. But I just watched it recently, man. That's a fantastic movie. I mean, it's fun as hell. As far as like creature effects go, Victoria Rasmussen, there you go. That movie has like some of the best creature effects I've ever seen, and it's fun because the whole movie takes place in a movie theater, and it just completely goes. Everybody starts turning into like zombie demons in the theater, and it gets crazy. It's awesome.
Inglourious Bastards, best theater scene.
Yeah, that's a great one. That is a great theater scene. Let me ask you guys this: what's the farthest you've ever driven to go to a movie theater? Cody?
Damn, that's a good question. I don't think I've ever really ever drove. I don't think I had to drive that far. 30, 40 minutes. I mean, I've never had a movie that I've had to like really travel to go see. I usually will wait until it goes to my city, or I'll just wait till it's on Blu-ray. The only one that I was debating very hard on traveling about an hour and a half to go see was Jeepers Creepers 3.
Yeah.
But something told me not to.
Glad you
and
didn't,
that voice, I thank that voice every single day for making me not waste my time.
For me, I would say I did it for Halloween. I drove 2 hours to see Halloween on the big screen, the first one. Because they, every now and then they'll do Halloween on the big screen, like on 50 screens across the nation. And if it's within 2 hours, I'll do it. And then I did that with a buddy of mine too. We were both like Halloween fanatics, so that was awesome. And then Green Room, I drove 2 hours to see Green Room because I kept hearing like this movie's amazing. This movie's amazing, and it was awesome. Like it was worth the drive to me. I mean, I loved Green Room. It was awesome.
Actually, you know what? I did drive a decent amount to go see a movie once, but it was more just because of the circumstance. I went and visited some family in Kansas, and I don't think we were in Kansas at the time, but we were in one of those neighboring states, kind of traveling around and looking at some stuff. And we were hanging out. We went back to my family's house in Kansas. It was me and my mom, and we were getting bored. And I was like, "Well, we'll go hang out somewhere else." And we went to go see Chef. And it was about an hour and a half away from wherever we were at. So 90 minutes to go see Chef. That was well worth it.
Chef, huh? I've never even seen Chef.
You've never seen Chef?
No.
Dude, that's
It's a good movie. Don't eat it hungry. Don't watch it hungry, though.
Yeah, definitely don't watch it hungry. But that's probably in my top 15 comedies of all time. That movie is so good.
No shit. Damn, top 15?
Dude, it's Jon Favreau's best movie in my opinion.
Wow.
Like it's
Swingers, come on, take it. The fuck, easy.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah.
Swingers times two.
Swingers.
I love Swingers,
dude.
But
Swingers,
Chef hits me right here because of the father and son relationship. Because my dad raised me on his own, so those things hit me really, really hard. But it's just got heart. It's very funny. You got really good performances from him. I mean, you got probably the best performance I've ever seen John Leguizamo give.
Wow.
I mean, it's I can't say enough. Not to overhype it, I can't say enough good about that movie.
Well, I'm gonna check it out now
I
since you gave it that.
Burnt, to be honest.
What's that?
Burnt?
I like Bradley Cooper.
Prefer Burnt.
I've never seen it, so can't argue that one.
Different type of movie.
Well, the critics mostly, I think, agreed with you. They went with Chef, but.
So what you guys are saying is in my top 20, 2 of those movies are going to be cooking movies? If I'm reading you guys correctly. Okay.
Yes.
CP, what's the farthest you've ever driven to go to the theater?
See, it's difficult for me because I'm a 40-minute train ride from New York City, and if it ain't playing in New York City,
yeah, it ain't playing nowhere.
It ain't worth anybody's time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I traveled 45 minutes to the city and then took, like, my friend Dahmer was only playing like in 3 theaters in the country,
and you saw it.
Yeah, and I had to go especially far from Manhattan. So I guess like with a taxi ride, it ended up being like an hour and a half. But that's kind of long for me considering that everything's here. So
yeah. Bryan, what about you?
Probably just about half an hour, I'd say.
Jesus. Even I guess Batman's going to be showing like within 2 minutes from everybody. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Knight. Here's a moderately funny story, I guess. I saw the Dark Knight at a staff screening, and the staff screening was in Manchester at midnight. But I was working in Warrington till 11:45, so I had to clock out and get from Warrington to Manchester in 15 minutes, and it's like if you're driving properly, it's a good kind of 25-minute drive. I got there in 12 minutes.
Ooh.
Wow,
that was breaking a lot of legal limits on. But yeah, I really wanted to get to that midnight showing. So
yeah, that'd be a great midnight showing.
Yeah.
Dino brought up a good one. Drive-ins. Have you guys ever been to a drive-in? Bryan, have you ever been to a drive-in movie theater?
No, we don't have them over here, and I'd really love to. I'd love to go to.
You do have one on the East Coast, Brian, not the eastern part of the country. Yeah, Emily, you in the chat, Emily?
Now that you've brought up drive-ins, you just made me a liar because I actually have driven quite a far away to see a movie. Because there's a drive-in in Jessup, Georgia, which is about 2 hours from here.
Yep.
And I passed it on a job back when I was doing construction, and I was like, damn, that would be awesome to take the kids to.
Yeah.
So we went very early on whenever me and Holly first got together. We drove out there, and it's an old classic 50s style diner drive-in. Like, they play the old, like, dancing concession videos and stuff like that before the movies. It's so cool and nostalgic. We saw Big Hero 6 and what the hell else was I think it was Wreck-It Ralph. But it was whatever other big animated movie was out with Big Hero 6. But we watched... No, it was Minions.
Yeah. Minions
and Big Hero 6. And previous to that, I took my brothers and sisters there. And the fuckers fell asleep, so I left because I was tired of sitting there by myself. But we were watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and some other movie that came out then, but it was like a big action blockbuster. But I drove 2 hours both times, there and back, which was a painful fucking drive home. Yeah. But before that, there was a drive-in in Ohio before I moved down here to Georgia that we went to a couple times. I actually saw Freddy vs. Jason and Jeepers Creepers 2 in a double feature. Awesome. And it was cool because Jeepers Creepers 2 has that old school kind of drive-in monster movie feel to it, so they totally fit. But yeah, we saw that one, and then I saw Sixth Sense, and it made absolutely no sense why this movie was with Sixth Sense, but Runaway Bride. That was the first time I ever saw a drive-in movie was Sixth Sense and Runaway Bride.
Did you know that Georgia has more drive-in movie theaters than any other state in the country?
I do now.
Totaling 4.
I kind of have an obsession with drive-in movie theaters. There are 2 videos on my channel where one I went to like an abandoned drive-in movie theater in Valdosta, Georgia when I lived there. And the thing, I think the last time it was open was in the, I want to say like 80s. But the frame for the screen was rusted and it's still there. So I took my camera out there and I documented the whole thing. And I was like, hey, I'm here at a drive-in. It's one of my first, like, this is my first year on YouTube. But yeah, I'm just kind of obsessed with drive-in movie theaters. When I was in 1986, I saw Psycho 3 and The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. And that was my one and only drive-in movie theater experience. And I remember my sister and her date took me, and I got in the trunk of the car because they didn't want to pay for me, and so then they unlocked the trunk when they got in, and we got our popcorn, and I watched Psycho 3. That's why I kind of have like this love for Psycho 3 too, because it was the only movie I've ever seen at a drive-in movie theater, and it was awesome. So yeah, that's my drive-in movie theater story.
It's a very cool experience because it's very different. You can bring in your own food. You kind of hang out in your car. I mean, you put it on the radio FM is what kind of has your sound going. So cool. I mean, it's just and it's different.
It's like a time machine, you know, going back to like the 70s or something like that. Like my ultimate to see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on a drive-in movie theater screen would be like, if I could go back in time, that would be like the one thing I'd love to do. Just that movie is made, drive-in movie theaters made that movie what it was, like made it successful because everybody was going to see it at the drive-in because it's like perfect for that. So, yeah. Wow, guys, it's almost 10 o'clock. I think we did our 2 hours perfectly, and it was a really, really fun stream. The Raid 2 review is coming, Jason Hobbs. I promise you. We're really looking forward to that. It's going to be awesome. I want to thank everybody in the chat. So much great topics going. I mean, the chat kind of keeps us going too, because sometimes when we get off track, the chat brings us right back. I mean, it's just awesome. Cody, what do you got coming next?
I'm going to start diving into all the patron requests that I've got piling up. I got quite a few. I got somebody wants me to review the original Martyrs. Somebody wants me to review Demon Knight. Nick Pusha, who was in the chat, I don't believe if he's still in it or not, he wants me to review the Poseidon Adventure. I've got Michael Mims, who was in the chat earlier. I told him I was going to review Red Heat, the old Arnold movie. I've got at least a dozen very different movies that I need to do, so I'm going to start kind of chipping away at those now that Friday the 13th doesn't consume my life anymore. Obviously, me and Lee, we're going to be tackling Phantasm here and there. Not really a scheduled thing, just kind of whenever we feel like it.
Phantasm 2 coming soon.
That's right. So I'm looking forward to that one. We've got at some point we're going to do House. So we got that. What else? I'm going to be for kind of an off the wall thing. I'm going to review the new God of War game because it's fucking incredible, and I want to talk about it. So as soon as I finish that one, because I don't review video games till I've seen the end of it, I'm going to review that. And I believe that is all. I can't remember what we got. Solo and we got Deadpool 2 coming out somewhat soon. Yep. So obviously I'll do those. But aside from that, that might be all that I've got kind of on the docket.
Cool. CP, what do you got coming next?
I got a bunch of Patreon shit. But Emily's just shoring up her review of Bone Tomahawk, which anybody knows anything about what she puts into her reviews.
Oh my god, it's like a full-on production.
Yeah. So definitely go check her channel out, Emily's Adventures in Horrorland.
Let me ask you this about Emily. When she's like, when she watches a movie, does she sit there and take notes along the way as the movie's going?
She watches it once and then watches it again and then takes notes the second time. And then the third time she's scripting. And I'm like, that's 9 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of the approach I've been taking lately with my reviews, and I think that's one reason why they're longer now is because I'll sit there.
How many Lee characters do you have in your reviews?
One.
Lee?
Just one. That's all you need. You don't need.
He's got the Lee that hates the movie and the Lee that loves the movie.
That's what
forget the Lee
amazes me
that
about
watches
her,
it a
dude.
second time.
That she can do 3 characters. That must take forever.
How are you going to kill me? Sorry.
Yeah, but CP, I'm sorry to jump all over you on that, but
no, absolutely, it's fine.
Yeah, Bryan, what do you got coming up?
Oh, go ahead, Bryan. Plug our shit while you're doing that.
Yeah. Sorry. So I'm gonna finish off my Stanley Kubrick stuff and carry on with Alfred Hitchcock. So the next Hitchcock one is Vertigo. Then I'll be doing Psycho, which I'm looking forward to. Kubrick, I've just filmed my review for 2001, and then I've got a couple of patron reviews coming up. Commando is one.
Man, that's a great one.
Yeah.
The Prestige is another. It's a film I've already reviewed before on my channel, but it's one of my early reviews. I've said this before. Piece of advice to anyone starting a YouTube channel: don't review your favorite films.
Thank you.
But thankfully, one of my patrons wants the Prestige, so it kind of gives me an opportunity to do it right.
Yeah.
That's my favorite of his, actually. Unpopular answer, but it is.
What's that?
That's my favorite.
The Prestige.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's my favorite Nolan film.
Wow, it is a good one.
And then, also I forgot to mention, at some point I think we're going to record them this weekend. Bryan and I are doing a couple of collabs. We're going to be doing top 5 favorite John Carpenter films for
that's nice.
My channel, I believe, and then we're doing top 5 favorite sci-fi sequels for his, so we can plug his Facebook group.
So much good content. You guys got me excited.
Just before I release the sci-fi sequels with me and Cody, I'll be doing a top 5 sci-fi original movies on my channel. So
awesome.
Oh, and I made fun of 2 of these idiots just recently, so that's fairly new.
You made fun of us very well, good sir.
Yeah, all in good fun.
All in good fun.
And then Cody gave it right back to me on Monday night with a T-shirt joke. I was like, Cody's got to be
fucking dying when I put that in too.
Dude, you got to be the roaster next time, because I was like, shit, that's so fucking funny.
Oh my god, he was asking. They were talking about what T-shirts he should make for like a CP store or whatever, and they're going over ideas like, oh, it should be a take it the fuck easy, whatever. And I typed in, I was like, you should make a T-shirt that says this is the trailer for the real shirt.
Oh, that is awesome.
The real shirt's coming 3 shirts from now.
Yeah.
CP's the one review you get more teasers than the actual. You get like 3 teasers before the actual review for the movie that doesn't even mean anything.
Yeah, I think I should have more fun fucking around.
Friday the 13th Part 5 review is coming, and you'll get 5 teasers before the Friday Part 5 review.
You got me pegged.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
But what Bryan was saying about don't review your favorite movies first. That's why I created my Revisited series, because there's so many bad reviews that I did on my first year that I have enough revisited material to last me for the next couple of years. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that I didn't jump right into Nightmare on Elm Street like when I was early. Like I was about about 8 months or so into YouTube before I did it. The only regret I have with those reviews, because I'm very proud of them, is that I didn't go as far as to make my own little custom background like I have for every other series I've done. But that's the only detail that I'm like, I wish I could go back and change that. But
yeah, it's part of the process, you know. It's that's why I'm like, some people, they like to delete their old reviews, but even though I know they're horrible, I don't delete them because it's nice to go back and be reminded, like, oh wow, that was different. It is, you know. It's just
I
cool
really wish that YouTube would add a function, and I don't understand why the hell they're the only platform like this that does not have this function where you can keep all of your shit, all of your views, your likes, your comments, but you can change the root file for your video and upload it again. Yeah. Like I used to be able to do that when I did my podcast. If I fucked up, or if I wanted to put a better quality one up, I could change the file and it would keep everything. But YouTube, you have to delete it and start fresh, because I could easily just change the background on those Nightmare on Elm Street reviews, re-render them and post them, and it would be great. But YouTube doesn't do that, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, once it's up, you can't do it unless you delete it. You're stuck with it.
It's just like if I miss a flub, which I do about every 9 or 10 videos, I'll play it and I'll cough or something, and I'll be like, ugh. And I'll look at the camera for a second, and then I'll start going again. I'm like, fuck! And it's already up. And I'm like, man, if I could only just change that. But
my thing is, like, I'll spend 3 days plugging out a video, and so by the time I'm done at minute 13 of the video, I don't want to go back and watch the whole thing again, so I'll just, like, throw it to the wind and throw it out there and see what happens. And most of the time it works, but there's been a couple times, like, I remember it was with I think it was with Final Destination. Or no, Carrie. The Carrie remake. I did that one, and I actually left like another 5 minutes of dead air at the end of it because I left a little.
And then you get like a little image at the end, right? You get like 2 minutes of blackness and then like a little sound clip.
Yeah, it was a little video clip. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's like, son of a bitch.
I wanted to. Yeah, I was so freaking mad because I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good review, and I put it out, and then it's like, ah, shit, why is that 15 minutes long when it's actually 10 minutes long?
It's a 2-minute video. Why is it 28 minutes?
Oh, man.
So. I guess what I got on the horizon, I just did prom. I'm kind of on a slasher phase right now, and I did Prom Night. I just dropped that yesterday. I did Hell Night. Love both those movies.
All night.
The Prowler is my next review. I'm dropping that one within the next couple days, and after that, I got some Patreon reviews that I have to do. I got to do Rosemary's Baby, and a couple others, and I wouldn't mind kicking up. Horror Needs a Hero again, maybe within the next couple months. I think we're due for another one of those, CP. So
okay.
Yeah, I'd like to start talking about some of that stuff, maybe within the next couple months. But yeah, Phantasm 2 too. That's coming too with Cody.
You know what? There's this movie that comes out in October that maybe we just
I think it's a Soft J Halloween. Something like that. Yeah.
Soft J.
May 19th is the big rumor that the trailer will finally drop. So I don't know. Hopefully, I can be near a computer at the time when it drops because I want to get my reaction out as quick as possible. You guys know how in love with this movie, this franchise I am. So it's this. My channel has blown up in my mind over the last month because of Halloween. You know, I've gained another 1,000. I'm getting like 1,000 subscribers. I know why. It's because of Halloween. You know, so yeah, I can't wait for that reaction. You know, that trailer reaction that I don't even do trailer reactions that much anymore. But I can't wait to do that one. I'm really looking forward to that. So.
Be more creatively.
Yeah, I know, right? Gee, I need to do a ranking video. I like ranking videos. I don't care what anybody says. They're fun.
Dude, listen.
I enjoy them too.
You're not cool unless you're opening a plastic box. That's all I gotta say.
Just got the new.
Where's my X-Acto knife?
Check out that artwork. We love you, Blu-ray Dan. Talk movies with us. Okay. No, it's all good. Everybody that's on YouTube, they're doing their thing. It's great. It's fun. We're a big community. We make fun of each other. It's part of the process. So
I'm going to do a ranking video of my top 10 Marvel ranking videos.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to do my top 10 ranking videos that I've,
I'll do a ranking.
Sean Chandler's going to have at least 7 of those top 10.
Oh my God! Like some of the topics he comes up with, I would have never even thought of that. You know?
Oh man, he's got that whole market cornered like a motherfucker, dude. I mean, like it's just he just did the one. It shocked the shit out of me. It was he ranked the post-credit scenes for Marvel.
Yeah,
that bitch had 17,000 views in like 6 hours.
Knock him all you want, but man, he's grabbing those views. But when you're like ranking the Collector franchise, it's just like what?
Yeah. Both of them.
There's 2 movies.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
All right, I don't want to leave. It's been such a great stream. It's been really fun. But we're gonna say our goodbyes now. Cody, CP, Bryan. Of course, I'll have their links in the info box for you guys. Be sure to check out their channels if you haven't. Awesome content. They just told you everything that they're putting out. So much good content. Thank you to everybody in the chat that watched with us tonight. We had such a blast with you guys. You guys feel like family to us. You really do. We always see a lot of familiar faces. It's always a lot of fun. And I can't wait for the next Scream stream already. So probably, once a month. I'd like to do twice a month. Maybe do a commentary, throw in there. So maybe in a couple weeks we'll do a commentary. What do you think, guys?
Didn't we pseudo agree on a commentary?
Yeah, I think we did. What was it going to be?
Well, we can't really announce it yet, but eventually we have a commentary that's going to have a pretty cool guest. So we.
We definitely can't announce that. But
right.
Somehow that keeps getting swept under the rug, and I don't know.
And I don't know how.
You're right. You know what? I wanted to get a Scream stream out quick, and to logistically get that thing going, I wanted to take my time, so I make sure I do it right, respectfully, because we got a guest that's going to freaking blow your balls off. So. I don't want to fuck that up. So that's a big thing. So I'm hoping that might be our next stream. So we shall see. So
yeah,
I'm gonna be really excited. You guys are gonna be really excited. It's gonna be awesome. But anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching Scream Stream with us. We shall see you next time. I need to come up with a good tagline for when we leave. I never have a good one, but yeah, we'll see you next time. Love you.